Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. So, requested to say some things, to share some things about Brahmachari. The Brahmachari is actually the initial stage of spiritual development. It is the primary ashram one enters into in devotional service. Why is it the primary ashram? Why is it the primary ashram? Because in the Nirvana and ashram, we have this ashram that is devoted for, we have 4 ashrams, Brahmachari, Vanaprastha. Is it Brahmachari? What?
Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas.
Yeah, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha. So that's why I said it's the primary stage of spiritual enlightenment and knowledge, devotional knowledge acquisition. And this lays the foundation of your future sustainable devotional values. When the Brahmachari ashram is grounded in very high-profile devotional values, and one performs the appropriate austerities, of course, not overstretching oneself, over torturing the body, then I want to be able to utilize these credits I want to acquires in the Brahmachari ashram to be able to move on in their spiritual life. For a number of Brahmacharis, they don't even like going into the Grihastha ashram. They just go straight to become sannyasis. It is a decision that individuals make. But sometimes the spiritual master makes those decisions for the Brahmachari. I remember in my case, I moved into the ashram, like I made devotion in 3 months' time. I gave up my job, moved into the ashram, and took initiation after 1 year. The second year, I was taking Brahman initiation during the festival. That was my second year. And during the Brahman thread ceremony, my Guru Maharaja, Bhakti Vasudeva Swami, said, I want Vasudeva to take sannyas. So you can't make any hesitations or say, oh, I decided to do like this. But people do that sometimes. Even people on the sannyas list, they drop out. Just like even people who are gurus and traveling swami, they drop out from the ashram. So, if we understand the value of Brahmachari, etymologically, what do we understand by Brahmachari? What is the derivation of that word Brahmachari? Yes.
Brahman, achar, behavior. To behave like Brahman.
Okay. Anyone else?
To control your senses for the higher purpose.
We're talking about the etymological root. That's the meaning. Okay, that is one of the qualities. But what about it here?
Celibacy?
Yeah, that's the meaning of Brahmachari. That is the literal meaning of Brahmachari. We're talking about the derivation of the word Brahmachari. That is basically, he's on track. He got it. Yes.
Acharya kind of makes me think of Acharya, so it's like you're
It
leading.
makes you think.
Oh, it's same derivation. same. It also makes you think of pickles, achar, you know.
Okay.
But yeah.
You can go in either way. Achar or Acharya, or whatever. Brahmacharya. So if we take say we want to see how the word is basically derived from two words, Brahman.
One is Brahman, one who religious or the Sanskrit if you take it like
Brahmachari iti.
One who chariti, one who religious his association with Brahman.
Yeah.
That is a Brahmachari.
So, an acharya means an exemplary teacher. So, Brahmachari is a heavy responsibility. And you see, there are so many rules in Brahmachari life. And we are not a society of just rules and regulations. Our basic foundational teachings rest on love and devotion to Krishna. But if we understand that based on Krishna's instructions in the Gita that he's the seed-giving father of everyone, he's our father. And that everyone is emanating from him. Every living entity is emanating from him. So again, it boils down to what I was saying the other day, that we are a community, a family, devotional family, Krishna family. And so the practice of Brahmacharya becomes really simplified if you look at the etymological root of that word, Brahmacharya. He's supposed to be an exemplary, realized, Brahman realized personality. What does that mean? You're doing like the Christians? You're making like So, and the whole idea is that we are being groomed in this ashram with students. Students are always ready to learn. We're not professors. So we're ready to learn, and the Brahmachari is ready to learn from any and anybody. In as much as they pick out the themes or the qualities to be able to help in revamping their spiritual identity or their devotional culture. So Brahmachari normally should not discriminate against anybody. But again, we are told that, in the Bhagavatam it's mentioned that Brahmachari should not sit on the same bench, even with his mother. Even with his mother, okay? So, there are so many rules. But it's not a game of rules, it's a game of cultivating knowledge. Cultivating knowledge means implementing, applying knowledge, spiritual knowledge, Vedic knowledge, Vaishnava knowledge in our lives to be able to realize the Supreme Spirit of Krishna. And if we look at it from that angle, then, we don't have a cause to be overly or unduly discriminatory towards anybody based on their bodies or their gender. And I see this in most cases in our movement. And this is very dominant, especially in India, where, I remember some time ago in Mayapur, I was in Mayapur, and at that time they were serving the Charamita in the morning. One side, the ladies' side is in the temple in the Panchatattva hall, and then the men's side is at the at the entrance of the Panchatattva hall. That day they were serving it because it was a festival day. They were serving it outside by the left when you're coming out from the temple. And I was going to the temple and I saw how these brahmacharis, young brahmacharis, they were harassing one elderly woman who is up to the age of their grandmother. I felt very much bad. So I approached them and see, you're trying to be brahmacharis, which is good. You are trying to avoid women. Then these women are up to your grandmother's age. They cannot fall you down. How you have to treat them like this? How you have to harass them like this? They're shouting on them in Bengali language. Get out from here. Go on the other side. Go on the other side. You know. I said, see, this is not good. You know that we are begging, but I said, look, you're on the dam. Any little thing you do counts much in your brahmachari, in your attempt to become a brahmachari. And we understand that in a number of ways, and our scriptures also delineate that sometimes a brahmachari gets into difficulties because they offend somebody or they offend people. The case of Subari Muni is a typical example. Subari Muni was performing austerities in the bed of the sea for decades of thousands of years. And Garuda used to go to that very area for his lunch. He goes there to pick his lunch. And then as a sage within that environment, he's supposed to protect, the fishes, supposed to protect the entities within that environment. So he was really upset. And he cursed Garuda, if you ever come here again, something will happen to you. That is the root of his sexual agitation. And that's how he left his austerities, long-term austerities, to search for enjoyment. And he got it. He got enjoyment. So, Brahmachari, this is also my watchword, that, human beings, we are prone to commit offenses, but we should be try to reflect on the Subari Muni's case and be careful. Yes, if we want to offend somebody, if we can't do it without being offensive to somebody, let us offend the men. The men, the severity is not so intense. But if you offend a woman, it's like you're biting your finger.
Your tail.
You're biting your finger. The finger that feeds you, you bite it. Because we are supposed to see every woman as a mother. We call them Matajis. Is it correct? We call them Matajis. Mother. So that's exactly what I was telling those boys, those brahmacharis who were harassing those elderly women. I said, this is supposed to be your mother, and you're harassing them like this, just to so-called protect yourself from fall down. This elderly woman, he can never fall you down. In fact, you will not be sexually agitated if even it comes to sit on your lap. This is an old woman, and you're acting like this. So, women, see, we didn't appear from the pillar like Sringadev. Did anybody appear from a pillar or from anywhere, self-manifest? Anybody here? Self-manifest? You? Stop joking, we are serious here, okay? Yes, sir. The point is, and this is something that can really protect us from getting into trouble. See, these women, if they go to Krishna and pray for you, on your behalf, even without you knowing, hey, Sister Radha Govinda, see, the Brahmachari is serving so nicely and is so much respectful to everybody. Please help him. If you get just one who goes to pray for you, you'll be protected. But if we are not careful enough, and will become offensive. We should think. We call them Mataji's, means mother. We have to see how we're treating them like mothers. They are also serving in our temples. So, yeah, there are many rules in Brahmachari life. There are Prabhupada mentioned in one of his purports in the Bhagavatam, 8 principles. Can someone Google that up? Yes.
Which?
8 principles of Brahmachari. Go to the Veda base and check that. But if you Google even the general web, it will come out 8 principles of Brahmachari. But Prabhupada did that in one of his purports in the Bhagavatam. And someone finds it, you should read it. Read that.
I see something that's referencing Sridhar Swami, though. You want me to go look in the database?
Okay, but 8 principles.
Yeah.
Yes. Can someone read it up? Yes.
The yamas niyamas. Huh? Give it to him.
I just know Patan is like studying of scriptures. One is sense control, Patan Patan, then he teaches the knowledge what he has learned. And Yajan, he does Yagya, the chanting of the holy name, and Patan Patan is Yajan. And few more like sense control and other things are there.
Okay.
Holiness.
Thank you. Can someone share with us the 8 principles of celibacy that Prabhupada delineated in the Bhagavatam? Yes.
One should not think of woman.
Yes.
One should not speak about sex life.
Yes.
One should not dally with woman.
Darling, yeah.
One should not look lustfully at a woman. One should not talk intimately with a woman or decide to engage in sexual intercourse. Nor should one endeavor for sex life or engage in sex life. One should not even think of women and look at them, to say nothing of talking with them.
I have the Sanskrit those.
Okay.
Darshan, Sparshan, Keli, Kirtan, Guya Bashan, Sankalpa, Adyavasaya, or Kriya Nivritti. That's the actual sexual act. So it's Darshan, looking, Sparshan, touching, Keli, or play, amorous sport, Kirtan, praising the qualities of the other sex, Guya Bashan, talking in private, Sankalpa, or determination, Adyavasaya, or nearing the other sex with desire for gratification, and Kriya Nivritti, or the actual sexual act.
What purport is that?
Not just some random website.
Okay.
Speaking.
Can you send that to me?
Yeah.
Okay, so Prabhupada he mentioned about these 8 principles of celibacy. And also in one of his purposes, Prabhupada mentioned that a Brahmachari should not even sit on the same bench with his mother. But these are rules that should engender our awareness of the fact that men are like butter and women are compared to fire. When fire and butter get close, what happens? Melting point. So we have to be careful. Yeah, we deal with the women. We have to understand it should be for service, not for the purpose of darling and all this stuff. And you see, if, for instance, women have a lot of potential. They have a lot of power too. Power to attract people to an organization. If you have a temple, you have, educated, beautiful women, beautiful ladies, you can get so many people joining the movement. Well, yeah. Because sometimes we tend to undermine the power of the female gender. Yes. Well, okay. Acha. That's a good one.
They're powerful. Bring people.
Yeah.
Bodies.
So, the point is that Prabhupada wanted the Brahmacharis to understand the challenges that we can face while treading the path of devotion, while being in this ashram. And therefore the rules are such that they are not just meant to enable distaste or hatred for any group of people, but to engender that type of spiritual community development that we understand our boundaries. In other words, we create boundaries in our lives. But I tell you a story that is so funny, and you can evaluate. You can evaluate this upon all these rules about, don't sit with your mother, even with your mother. Don't do this. But I had an experience with His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaja, my spiritual master, and I remember when I just took science in 2009 on June 26th in Mayapur. So I was traveling in India. I came to Chopati. Chopati, they have many staunch brahmacharis. So then they said, "Oh Maharaj, come and give us a brahmachari talk." Oh no, they said, "Come and give us some pastimes about you and your Guru Maharaj." Because Rana Maharaj was giving lectures there in the early periods when Bhakti Swami left, like several hours, But they wanted to hear more about Bhakti Swami, so when Swami, they said I should come and tell them some pastimes. I said, you will not like it. You will not like it. He said, what? Come and tell us. What do you mean we will not like it? So then I told them, some experience in that meeting, big hall, it was filled up with brahmacharis. I told them, that was 2009, I told them how when I was younger, I was regional secretary in the region at that time. I was still in West Africa. And so I was traveling. I also traveled with him when he came into Nigeria. He came into Nigeria. And because I was when he was not there, I was traveling to different temples on his behalf. I was part of my services. And then he had a very beautiful personal assistant, beautiful lady, who types his letters and all this stuff. So, at that time I was very staunch brahmachari. In fact, I remember when I was taking second initiation, also he mentioned that if we have two Vasudevs in Nigeria will be on fire. Yeah, because the ladies, they really complain about me. Yeah. But when we were to travel, because I tried to practice the brahmachari, what I read from the books. So we are going to travel with a Pujo wagon, and then it has 3 seats, the driver, the next seat, and then the behind row. So when I came, the Mataji, the secretary, was sitting behind the driver, because normally Bhakti Swami used to sit in front with the driver. So the lady was sitting at the back of the driver's seat. So I thought, come on, I'm a brahmachari. I'm going to sit at the rear, the last row of the seats. So I went to sit there. And then we were waiting for Guru Maharaj to come, Bhakti Swami to come into the car so that we can move. Our driver was there. So then he came down from upstairs from his apartment. He came down and he looked into the car and he saw me sitting at the rear. And he said, "Oh, Vasudev," the lady's name, I don't want to mention. And then he said, "Oh, Vasudev, come and sit with such and such here." So when I told these Chopati devotees this, a number of them, I could see, they just open their mouth like this. It's unimaginable. But here is the reason and the purport to that effect, to that type of setting. Now, he had mentioned that he had announced to the whole world he wanted me to take singers in 2 years, after just joining the movement after 2 years. And so he has to train me to be able to, meet with those demands. And one of those demands of Seance life or Brahmachari is traveling around. And so I remember also sharing this incident, this story with in a class, in Bhagavatam class in Delhi temple. The president is my close friend, Mohan Rupa. So I told the story, and then I was given the proper theory that because he's preparing me for the science ashram means you have to travel all over. And so when you board a plane, say you board a plane and you have to sit between two beautiful white ladies. Okay, two beautiful, charming ladies. Are you going to tell the crew that, hey, I'm a Brahmachari, get these people out of here? You're not going to tell them that now. So, prove your worth. Prove yourself now. So I sat with that secretary all through the journey. I think we traveled for like 6 months. Each temple we go to, we stay for a particular number of days or week plus. Because each place he goes, he has all these different programs, preaching to scholars, to corporate, academics, and all these things. So, the important thing is that, yes, we know the rules, but the rules should be applied in such a way that we are preparing for a bigger journey, a greater journey. We have to go into the world to be able to spread Krishna consciousness. So, for instance, we say, we're not supposed to even sit on the same row with Harmonia. So if you bought a plane, you have your ticket, you're traveling to India, you have to sit between two beautiful ladies, you cannot tell them to change your seat. And so the bottom line is that we have to be expert in the application of these 8 principles of celibacy. And so that they become like a guidepost or a GPS to our spiritual perfection, spiritual realization. Now, even just the decision to be a Brahmachari is a huge initiative, a huge spiritual initiative. And you know what? Majority of change initiatives fail. According to management science reports, majority of change initiatives fail. And therefore, we have to be expert to see that we sustain, we lead this devotional change called Brahmacharya, we lead it successfully, and possibly jump the Grihastha ashram. Jump. You know how monkeys jump? Yeah. They leap. So it requires a lot of work. Reading every day. How many people read every day here? Privately, private reading. Not the Bhagavatam class and everything else. Yeah, we have to read every day. When I joined in the morning, That was 1 hour set aside for reading. Woke up at 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, everybody wakes up. They ring a bell. Everybody, you must wake up. You live in Nashville now? Wake up. Wake up. So at least before Mangalati, you chanted, you use 1 hour for chanting. Yeah. And so the remaining time, from 5:15 to about 7:15 or 7:30, a chunk of time. So 1 hour we used for reading. Officially, that was standard in that temple. I enjoyed it. And that helped us to deepen our faith in Krishna consciousness, because the more you understand and know the philosophy, you have that purification that comes with it. Because the Bhagavatam or the Vedic literatures, they are not different from Krishna. In fact, Krishna mentioned this too. When he was discussing, as Vishnu, when he was discussing Lakshmiji in the Gita Mahatmya, he mentioned this, that the Gita is not different from him. So when we are even reading the books, we should understand that we are performing puja. This is one of the reasons why the Bhagavatam or even the Bhagavad Gita, we should not put it on our laps, because the way we treat the deities is the way we should treat the Vedic literatures. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya. Reading is very important, because reading facilitates the purity. And the chanting is very, very important. If someone wants to be a Brahmachari for the rest of his life, they have to take the chanting very seriously. In fact, we were trained during Japa period. It was not the phone era at that time, 1983, 1984, 85. Well, telephone, these wonderful smartphones were not there. But then we have all these stops as a means of facilitating our devotional service, but they also can distract us. So Brahmachari, if we really want to be Brahmacharis, we should devote our official times for official activities. When it's a Mangalati, we should be attentive, listen to the prayers, reflect on the meaning of the prayers. That becomes part of our meditation. I'm saying this because as I travel around, I've seen a lot of things in our own temples. Brahmacharis, leaders, even during Mangalati, people checking their phones. During class, people are checking their phones. During japa, checking their phones. So yeah, the digital age is supposed to facilitate our devotional growth. But if we're not careful, it could be the cause of distraction. And especially if we want to be brahmacharis for the rest of our lives. If we don't want to be brahmacharis for the rest of our lives, no problem. Do whatever you want. But if we want to be brahmacharis for the rest of our life, we should meticulously follow what is embedded in the literature, what is embedded in the books. In fact, Bhakti Vasudeva Swami has compiled some literature on Brahmachari. Who has read that book? Yeah. It's tough, but it's good.
Very strong.
Tough but good.
It's tough but good. You want to be a Brahmachari?
Krishna consciousness.
It's tough, but it's good.
Piercing.
Yeah. I think one, I will not mention the person's name. One of my friends, she has a master's in IT. She's married now. But she read that book and she never wanted to get married.
Never got married?
She never wanted to get married. So, yeah, out of pressure from our friends and family, before she changed, she got married. She's married now. So my point is that the books are there to enlighten us. If we don't read the books, it is difficult to make steady progress. Because at some point in time, the chanting becomes dry. But if you are reading, if we are doing some service, this should be on a daily basis. If we are reading, we are doing some service, we are waking up on time to do our sadhana, the chanting. We are attending the programs. The 15th, visiting the theaters. If you are following these 5 things, we can be rest assured our devotional sadhana, our Brahmachari life will be sustained. I remember when I went to India in 2008, after staying in the movement for over 20 years, I went to India 2008 for the first time. Yeah, and so the senior Brahmacharis in Mayapur, they were asking me, how did you survive? You never came to India. You never came to Mayapur. How did you survive as a Brahmachari? I had this bizarre conception that Krishna is here. The deity as Krishna. So I had that conception and I focused on that. I thought, India, I'll be tired of India. When I was a young Brahmachari, this was my thought. At that time, people were rushing. Some people just joined the movement to travel to India. Yeah. And I thought, that India, let me work now, let me serve now, let me preach now. India, in due course of time, I'll be tired. And it happened. The last time I went to India, I stayed in India for 3 years, 7 months. So, when I came to India for the first time, those Brahmacharis, they were wondering how a Brahmachari could stay in the movement for 20 years and never came to India, and he survived in Brahmachari. Not just survived, he's successful in a Brahmachari. So we have the deities. And we are Brahma Acharya. We are supposed to view things based from spiritual perspective. And we have to view people or look at people from spiritual perspective. In other words, a Brahmachari, by literally speaking, we are supposed to be Brahman realized personalities. Yeah. So that's why I said in the beginning that being a Brahmachari is a heavy responsibility. And people come to the temple. I tell you, when I was at Tuago Temple, I saw this that, when I just took seance and I came back to America, I was traveling, so I went to Tuaco. And at that time, they didn't have any Brahmachari in the temple. So they were organizing some programs, some fundraising for their new temple. And they had to invite me to go there. Because people also respect your temple based on the fact that you're cultivating all the Brahmacharis. They're people who are austere. Brahmacharya is subsumed in the austerity of the body, according to Bhagavad Gita 17:15. It's an austerity of the body. If we won't go into the details, it's also an austerity of the mind, austerity of the senses. And if we structure our daily lives in such a way that we take into cognizance effective time management, we will be successful Brahmachari. I can guarantee you. who would not like to go and taste the grass ashram? You hear this? Okay.
I needed it.
Okay. Yes, so for those who are yet to make a decision about what to do with their lives, if you are in the Brahmachari ashram and if you're serious, very quickly you're able to make a decision about what you want to do with your life. In fact, I decided to be a Brahmachari before I moved into the temple. I saw devotees in 3 months. I moved to the temple. But before I moved into the temple, I've read the books and I decided, yeah. No. I just have to. That's what I should do, you know. Then, I had to, get myself mentally prepared before I moved to the temple. And my thought was, yes, I want to be Brahmachari. So that individual decision has to be there. And it has to be sustained. Because it's so easy, like I mentioned. When people make initiatives, we call it, in management, we call it change initiatives. This is a devotional change initiative or a spiritual change initiative. Most change initiatives fail. More than 50% of change initiatives fail, according to statistics. So we should not be a statistics. What does that mean?
We should make the difference.
Yeah. You're a spam guy, boy. The most important thing, I think I was telling the story the other day about one Brahmachari at the Bhakti Center who left the Brahmachari ashram. I mentioned that, I told that story. Yes, so I had to be able to, keep our devotees, our Brahmacharis. We have to create good relationships. Good relationships that we are ready to listen. We are ready to serve other people. And Prabhupada gave a good example of himself. He came to New York at the 22nd Avenue where he was delivering his Bhagavad Gita classes in the evening. These are people, the people he was encountering that time were mostly like, hippies, potheads, sexomaniacs. But he transformed it by the quality of his interaction, his association. He gave them association. So you may run into a situation that the environment is not conducive, but you can give association instead of taking association. But then you have to build up yourself very strong in your sadhana as a Brahmachari. If we create a serious devotional bonding amongst the Brahmacharis will hardly make a counter decision. The issue is strong devotional bonding. Because when we bond strongly with each other, that helps to sustain our Brahmacharya values. Association is just a powerful thing. See, we talk about so much of association. There's so much of that in our own literatures. Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all of these Shrutis and the Smritis. This principle of association is so important to Brahmacharis. And so we have to understand at each time what type of association we have. Are we giving association? Or we are taking association from somebody? we build our sadhana very strongly, our faith and devotion very deeply, we can help the whole world. But we have to work on ourselves first. A devotee can change anybody. One young boy, 6 years old, at Columbus, Ohio. He's an Indian boy. He was born in America here. You know that story?
Which one?
Okay.
I know about Columbus.
There are many.
Huh?
I know about Columbus, Ohio.
You don't know Maharaj.
Okay, so there was this boy. His parents told me this story. He had a friend, 6 years old boy. He had a friend in school. And you see, sometimes we say, sending a child to school, you're sending the child to hell. It depends on the quality of your child. This 6 years old boy, he made a friend at school, another of his age group. He's a black boy. And he was so close that this boy will come and spend weekends with this devotee. That's how the parents of the boy became interested in coming to see the parents of this devotee. So if we have strong impetus in our devotional culture, we can change so many people. So that little boy could just have that repulsive attitude that, hey, they can't be bored. Get out from my life. Get out of here. Get out of here. No, he was free. He made friends, and then he transformed them. He transformed them. Yeah, okay, Leprechaun. So, when we are deeply devotionally cultured, can create a huge transformation in the world. Because as you go out, as you interact with people, you radiate that energy that is intrinsic in you. And people get attracted to you based on that, based on your practices, based on your culture, based on your values. And see, Lord Jagannath has big eyes. Lord Jagannath is also Krishna. So Bhakti used to say, Jagannath has big eyes, so he's watching. And he's seeing everything from far and wide. Nobody can cheat Lord Krishna. In fact, Krishna mentions in the Gita that of cheats, he's the gambler. And he is, of course. So if we understand that Krishna is in our hearts, and we are consciously and conscientiously walking with that understanding, I guarantee you will sustain your brahmachari life. As soon as we begin to think, no one is watching me, that's a problem. Oh, no one is here, that's a problem. So let's always be conscious of the fact that Krishna is in our hearts, is watching us. Let's do the right thing. And so that Prabhupada will be pleased. Any comments or questions? Yes.
So you were talking.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the nice.
Raise your voice. That's not raise voice.
Speak louder.
Oh, okay.
That's not a mic, that's for the recording.
Okay, so something I was thinking about is there's the rules, there's the principles behind the rules. How can we, as we do our practice of reading, particularly studying, can we understand and learn the principles behind the rules so that when situations come that push us to like places where maybe we can't, where we really have to take some really difficult decisions, we understand the principles well enough that we don't get polluted?
Mm-hmm. Next point. I mean, it's like what you said is so important. Because it's just like we hear these different pastimes of Krishna. Yeah, there are principles behind. I give you a typical example. How one time Krishna and his Gopal friends, they were in the groups. And all of a sudden Krishna told Subal is one of the closest associates of Lord Krishna. He said, Gopal, go and bring Brother Rani just now. And it's like asking someone to do the impossible. Gopal, he loved Krishna like anything. He loved Krishna more than he loved himself. So he was so enlivened, he just jumped off. How is he going to accomplish that? Think about it. It's impossible, materially speaking, to go and bring Radharani. She is guided by the mother-in-law, by the sister-in-law. Inside her, deep in her chambers, Krishna is giving that type of instructions. But Subal did. He was successful. Now, Prabhupada also received very tough instruction from his guru. Krishna is the supreme guru. Subal is representing the living entity. We can be instructed by the guru and apparent very difficult instructions. We can say, what? This is impossible. And I saw this in one case when I was younger. One guru, ISKCON guru, visited this country, and then he was staying in a disciple's home, husband and wife. So I went to visit him. And then I heard him telling the disciple, the husband and wife, something, giving some instruction. And the wife said, Maharaj, we cannot do this. This is, yeah. This is not possible for us. We cannot do this. Subal could have also told Krishna, Krishna, Saka, this is not possible. You know it's not possible. Are you teasing me? Are you poking me? You ask him to do the impossible. But the fact remains, the principle behind the instructions of the guru to the disciple, like difficult instructions, is that every instruction is encapsulated with empowerment. So, if the guru wants to promote that devotee, he can give that devotee, that disciple, real tough instructions. I remember also in my case, some devotees were killed in Liberia, including a white lady. And my Guru Maharaj told me, that time I was still young, and I was still serving in West Africa. And he told me, Vasudev, go to Liberia and investigate, find out exactly how the devotees got killed. War was still going on in the country. So I flew into the neighboring country, and there was a temple there. The president of the country, president of that temple, is a disciple of my Guru Maharaj. He sat me down and lectured me for like 2 hours why I should not go to Liberia. But I looked at him right in the face and asked him, so between you and Guru Maharaj, whose instruction shall I execute? I asked him, you? Just leave me alone. I told him, I will go. I told him, I signed my death warrant when I joined this movement. You know what it takes to leave my job to join this movement? That is a harsh decision. I said, I signed my death warrant. I saw myself as a military guy going to the war front. So don't tell me anything. If I have to die, that would be a glorious death. So I went. The guy was shocked with my response. He was completely taken aback. But I went, I stayed there, I stayed in that country for life. And I went to the country without a return ticket. A war-torn country. I got the investigations done. I had to fly out. At the airport, as I flew into that airport, the whole place is littered with soldiers, fully armed. Yeah, just the fright of armed military personnel all over the place could just create some type of trauma. But then he knows that I'm a funny guy, that I like doing difficult things, so he engaged me accordingly. He couldn't ask somebody else to do that, because even his own, the term president in that neighboring country, he told me not to go. But I went and executed it, and he was superlatively happy. I came back with the results, I wrote to him and all this stuff. So, sometimes people see, these people running around, traveling around. I mean, like my case, sometimes people see me and they say, oh, he's so lucky, he has a PhD, he's a Swami, he's a guru, he travels all over the world. Look at the background. I became a president when the society was on fire in crisis. Some police commissioner and some bloop devotees were trying to close down the society. They brought all types of allegations. That was in Nigeria. They brought all types of criminal allegations against the movement and against the guru. They published that on the newspapers. That is when the guru said, Vasudeva, take over the presidency. Because the guy who was the president was very Brahmanical. Yeah, this is... But you see, executing the orders of the guru can so much strengthen your Brahmachari vows. So yes, every rule has principles. So for instance, like I just gave you the example of Krishna telling Subha, then the understanding is that the principle behind instructions is that every instruction of the guru is encapsulated with empowerment. And the devotee who doesn't know may be thinking, I cannot do this. Yeah. I cannot do it. Arjuna was also thinking like that. I cannot do this. And Krishna said, everything is already done. Everything is already done. You just go and take the credit. Have finished the whole business. So we have to be... It's a very nice question you asked. Any other comment or question? Yes.
Maharaj, since you have expertise in management, I was thinking of this dichotomy sometimes as brahmacharis. We see that there's personal development and the needs of the institution. So if we focus too much on personal development, like for say we read and chant a lot and we feel very spiritually nourished, but the society doesn't grow and the institution doesn't grow. But then if we give all too much to the society institution, maybe in the external sense, maybe we're getting some internal development, like Mahaprabhu Sankirtan movement's growing, but we don't have time to chant, we don't have time to read, we don't have time to go deep in Shastra. So I wanted to see what do you see as a good balance for both of them, and for long-term ashram life?
Very nice point. See, I remember when I was at Tuaco Temple, my younger years, we had these brahmacharis, some gurukulis, and they were very, very sastri, very, very helpful. Pujari work, all preaching. Bad. I normally don't like to use the word bad. So, but then, one day, because one of them was pretty close to me, so I asked him, such and such. The previous day was Janmashtami. So I saw him really very busy. And sometimes the presidents, they don't ask the temple, these busy devotees, hey, did you change your rounds yesterday? I saw you so busy. No, so in most cases, people don't care. But the Brahmachari has to be careful. If you take for granted you are chanting for anything, you are looking for trouble. So I asked this devotee, did you chant your rounds yesterday? I saw you so busy. He said, Vasudeva, what is wrong with you? You saw me so busy, and you're asking me whether I chanted my rounds. I said, you have not answered my question. He said, no, I didn't finish my rounds. So yes, I've seen that. Now, to be able to create a balance, effectively managing your time matters a lot. If take what you can chew. If you take this service, take this service, take this service, and you can't even chant, you have to sleep late every day, that you are not able to even have the strength to wake up for Mangarati. We are not workaholics. We are supposed to be Krishnaholics. So we have to create a balance. We have to effectively manage our time. And our devotees also, one thing I've observed is that all in the name of, Sangha, we like to just hang around with each other and chat for hours. I never did that when I joined, because what attracted me to the movement was, I read the 2 books, and then these 2 books, they just answered all of the questions that were bothering me from childhood. So I was interested in reading. I wanted to read. So even when I come back from Sankirtan, I was a pujari. From 4 o'clock, no time until breakfast time. Class I will not attend. Nothing. I then finish waking the deities, clean the paraphernalia, then you go for flowers. See, these days, all these things are provided for you, for the pujaris. Flowers are provided for you. After finishing from the altar, you go out and look for flowers. And then you have to go out on Sankirtan. So tell me what time you have to chant if you don't manage your time effectively. As devotional life is very easy, it's made easy right now. And therefore, if we effectively manage our 24 hours, the problem is effective time management. In most cases, we do not manage our 24 hours nicely. And then we go to sleep and we oversleep. Or we eat and we overeat, and then we can't function. The Prabhupada gave a very nice instruction: have the stomach with food, 1/4 air, remaining 1/4. 1/4 water, remaining 1/4 air. These are things that the Brahmacharis can practice and sustain the Brahmacharya life. These instructions are meant for us. Because I've seen devotees eat. After eating, they fall back like this and sleep. No, I've seen it. No, I'm not making it up. I've seen it. In other words, if we don't follow that principle of hard stomach with food, then we eat to the brim, and then the body becomes completely weakened. And then next thing is to sleep. And if you sleep early in the morning like that, just after prasad, if you are not careful, you may not be able to catch up with your daily activities. So effectively managing our time. Eating according to what is prescribed by Prabhupada. We'll be able to balance. Essentially, we'll be able to balance our sadhana and the services, the work, management, whatever, by effectively managing our time and not chewing more than we can digest. I remember one lady in Maryland, one of my close friends. So she complains about this, complains about that, and said that, see, you go to Baltimore Temple to address the deities. And then the other day they live far away. And then you drive to a Potomac Temple to do your service. And all this is, you're getting older, you're not getting younger. So, do what your body can carry. Look, I have a strategy for traveling. Someone was asking me to come to Fiji. And initially, to ease the trip, he said, okay, I'll stop over in New Zealand and Australia for one day or so. So I said, well, that is equivalent to like my traveling from the US to India. I stop over in London, then the rest 10 hours or so to India. That's okay, I can manage that. Then later he came to exchange the whole thing, the time to be cost effective, and that routing will now be so, it will take more money. I said, please, you know what to do? He said, what? I said, please, see, I'm far away in America. Get devotees who have to come for a program from New Zealand, from Australia, or from India. You want to be cost effective? Why are you coming all the way to America? So, we need to be practical in most cases. If we have to do something, do it with cost effectiveness and time effectiveness. Yeah. All right. In the absence of any other comments or questions, someone, okay.
So suppose someone chooses the Brahmachari ashram. If someone chooses the Brahmachari ashram and later on, maybe after 10-15 years, he realizes that he's not able to upkeep that, he does not have the strength for it, and he switches to Grihastha ashram, versus if one have chosen Grihastha ashram from the start just to be safe, which one of these has a better outcome?
Okay, thank you. That's a nice question. In most cases, I remember my friend in London, he told me, he's a actuarial scientist. So he told me when they were young, his Guru Maharaj would look at him and said, hey, you go to study, okay? Go to don't go and say you want to be a Brahmachari. Go and study, go get a job, have a family. Later part of your life, you can take to Vanaprastha. Again, the concept of the Guru comes in. What's the vision of the Guru for you? I told you my case. As I joined 2 years, Guru Maharaj said, hey, Vasudeva, no marriage. There's the need to work under the auspices of a bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, we can make our decision. We may have the good intentions, but good intentions alone is not enough. So whatever we decide, 15 years, I've seen people join the movement, they serve for 20 years, 30 years, then later they get married. The services they do for Krishna is not a waste. It's to their glory. But your question is, which is more practical? Yes, someone to evaluate themselves to see how to be able to deal with their actions in conjunction with the spiritual master. Yeah. So okay.
You already touched upon this topic, but I would like you to expand maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
You know, one time they asked Gandhi, what do you think about Western civilization? And he said, that's a good idea. So we have this phenomena here in the West, Prabhupada spoke about it, where the culture or the lack of culture is that everybody associates freely. There is mingling between the genders. And we are observing this in the West is very strong, especially here in America. We have it everywhere, in our temples as well. And it's everybody's fault, basically. Men's fault and also women's fault, maybe more men's fault. And from what I've seen, I feel like this is one of the major problems on the path of Brahmacharya nowadays. Many staunch devotees have fallen down because of this lack of culture. And nowadays the temples are deserted, basically. There are not so many brahmacharis because there is this mingling which is undermining the principles of brahmacharya, and then one gradually falls down to sex life. So you spoke a little bit how, of course, it has to come from us. I think, if I'm not mistaken, even Srila Prabhupada in the CC, he gives the ultimate instruction for the brahmachari, that what actually matters, what actually determines if one will be a brahmachari or not, is his desire to be a brahmachari.
Yeah.
If your desire to be a brahmachari in any circumstance, you do the right thing, because Krishna will give you intelligence. Your guru will support you.
Exactly.
Just like in that case with the white ladies. Still, what I wanted to say was, yeah, if you can expand on this, and what is our role in this? Do we have to change this culture? What do we have to do? Because this Prabhupada's movement, and apparently he had some ideas about it. He established the Varnashrama Dharma. I mean, he spoke about it. He didn't establish it. How to defend ourselves, how to protect ourselves. What do we have to do to establish the spiritual culture?
So it should start with individual. Because it's difficult to change things dramatically in an international organization. So in India, the setting is different. In America and other Western countries, again, it's a completely different scenario. Because I've also seen, I travel, I don't want to mention the country, but not even in America, like in South America. I've been to some countries that, initiated devotee is living with another woman, with a woman, and they're not married. Initiated devotee. And so, it is the culture that plays. So, even although they understand that this is anti-devotional activity, the culture, people are inebriated. And so what we can do is, individually, we have to live our lives as role models. We have to set the bar. We have to we have to strengthen our desire to remain focused on our ashram or in our ashram. We should not look at what people are doing. We should become focused. And I have the good fortune, we had many brahmacharis in the temple at the time when I was younger in Nigeria. And when my Guru Maharaj gave this instruction, I remember sometimes he travels, and then when he comes, visits the country, he visits a temple there, he takes me out. Normally, he goes out with a trunk of devotees for japa. Then sometimes he calls me single-handedly, he takes me out. I remember on one occasion, he told me, because that time, majority of the devotees, they were changing ashram. And he told me, Vasudeva, if you be in the whole world, they're getting married. You never. So, but then not everyone has that type of, exposure. So that's what I'm saying. We should be exemplary. We should be self-determined to prosecute the goal and let others emulate. To make, just of a sudden to make rules. You're not a GBC here, you're not a president, I'm not a president, I'm not a GBC. What can we do? But we have to set a standard so that other brahmacharis, they can emulate. Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai.
Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Maharaj ki Jai.